Alright, welcome back. We're bending glass. We're just a bunch of glass blowers in Frostburg. We had a really good show this Saturday. Just yesterday. And I'm trying out a new camera setup here, so bear with me. Thinking the audio looks good there. Should have a pretty good sound since I'm wearing my headset. So today we're just going to blow some glass, have some fun, hang out, relax. It's a little chilly out here today, so I'm in my PJs basically, trying to stay warm. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in chat there. We'd love to hear from you. We are bending glass. And just bear with me here a second. I am going to try to set up the chat view here so I can see if anybody is talking to us. Get to my dashboard. We're going to go to the old stream manager here. Oh, nice. We got some other glass blowers that followed. I love it. I don't know who Bully's Glass is or Sammy77322, but thank you for following. If you're watching, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So my name's Chad. I've been blowing glass since about 2013. If you haven't watched my other video, that's kind of my introduction. I actually had a friend named Jordan who kind of introduced me to the medium, and I've been having fun with it ever since. So I'll explain some of the tools I have here and stuff you see here. So this first is a torch. It's a mix of oxygen and propane. It's mixed at the surface of the torch, and that's what produces the flame that you see. You can get a wide variety of flames with this torch. This is actually a triple mix, so there's actually 2 oxygen lines that run into this, as well as 2 propane lines, and that's for the 2 stages of the torch. But you can get a lot done with this one. It's pretty compact. This is actually the snub nose Mirage from GTT. Shout out to them. But I've also worked on Bethlehem Alpha. I had a Red Max for a number of years. I had a Bethlehem Champion for a number of years that my cousin's still using. It's actually just right there. It's kind of funny too that this is actually my other buddy Josh. He also blows glass with us, but I actually sold this Red Max to a friend, and he ended up buying it from him. So I actually have almost all of my original torches still here with me in the shop, which is pretty special. Alright, what we're blowing glass with here today is actually a borosilicate glass. So this is what they call hard glass. Some of the stuff you might see on TV, like on that Blown Away Netflix show, that's soft glass. It's a little bit different, just type of glass. Has some different characteristics to it. It melts a little bit at a lower point. Stays very soft for a long time, where Boro, it does not. So, lots of reheating. So I do have a new camera review for you guys today that I'm pretty excited about. I'm actually using a Raspberry Pi camera and a telephoto lens with a camera with a view here. So we're gonna get a little bit started here, and I'm gonna show you the new torch view. See how it looks. Oh, I like that view. So this will be the new torch view. I'm trying to give you guys a bird's eye view of what I'm doing here, so that way I can kind of explain it as I go. I get lots of people asking me to do classes, and I like to teach, but unfortunately, just the space that we have here in my little shed, it's probably not in the cards right now. Plus, you have to have special insurance. I'm sure there's lots to involve to get that kind of shop rolling. We're just not ready for there yet. Maybe eventually. So the camera that you're looking through now actually has a special lens on it that kind of is almost the same as the glasses you see me wearing here. The glasses are a little bit darker, of course, because I don't really need the darkness. I don't need to really protect the lens here. It's pretty far away. Should be fine. And I guess I gotta explain what we're gonna work on. I have no idea. I'm very excited though just to be here with you guys. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Type in the chat. Love to hear from you. Alright, so I think the first thing we're just going to do here is I have a couple blow tubes that I just need to fix and get ready. Because I do want to prep some line tubing today. That is one of the things on my list. I actually sold a bunch of line tubing types this week. I got another show in 2 weeks that I'll be vending at, so I just got to get some stuff ready. Get some inventory. Show people what we really got out there. If you'd like to support us, you can check out our Etsy. It's a little bit bare right now. Again, we just had another show, so generally I deactivate everything from the Etsy just to be safe. Alright, so we're going to prep this blow too. Let me see what you're looking at here. Oh man, this is a pretty nice view. The white balance could... I feel like there's a lot of white you're seeing there. That's okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick off some of this nipple here on the glass. I'm just going to pick that out of there. And I'm going to blow this. And then once I blow it, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to heat the whole thing and it'll start to condense. It'll just kind of thicken up. As long as you heat everything evenly, keep it on center and spinning, you should be able to get a pretty good even blank there. Now we're just going to pop this. So I'm going to blow into this while I'm heating the end. I'm going to puff that open here. And I'm just going to go in here with my jacks. This is actually a new tool that I just got. Oh, I closed it off. Yep, I got to do it again. So I got a little bit too hot there when I popped that small hole, and I ended up just shutting that hole again. So I'm just going to pick out the little bit there. Come back in. Puff this thing out. It does have a little thick spot, so I'm probably going to puff it in here real quick. So I got a thick spot on the end. Just little tiny puffs we're putting into it too. Not doing anything crazy. I'll let the torch do most of the work for us today. Alright, pop that one a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to come in with my jacks and I'm just going to kind of gently ease this out from the center. And I'm kind of using part of the tube kind of as a resting point for myself. I'm coming in here. I'm just kind of... These jacks are pretty amazing. I literally just got these. I haven't even used them yet. This is really my first use of them, and I can already see how they are superior to... They're definitely superior to tweezers. The best thing is they're technically two tools in one because they also have the paddle on the back, so you can get your blow tubes perfect. And that's exactly what I'm looking for there. Nice. Just a nice blow tube. It's nice and even, like all the way around. So it's perfect. Perfect for me. Alright, then we're just going to complete that process another half dozen times here. Because I got tons of blow tubes here. So this one's actually a little bit short, and usually for my shorter ones, I usually make these punty rods. And all the punty really is just usually it's just a handle. So the way I use tubing as a handle, and the reason I use tubing for a handle is I like 9.5 millimeter. If you have something that's a little bit heavy on the end, a 7 millimeter rod might not cut it, and it's actually a little bit harder to spin because there's less to grab onto. So you're better off trying to, and a 9 millimeter rod of this size would be twice as heavy. So I like a nice light handle, and the way I'm able to achieve that and still have some good structure is by using this 9.5, or yeah, it's 9.5 millimeter tubing. So it is hollow, but then I condense and fatten up the end here a little bit. If you can kind of see it there's like a little bit of a gather there on the end, and I'll use that as a thing that I'll attach to other things with to hold. So I'm just going to bring the tip of this to a nice point. And the most important thing if you are going to use a hollow handle as a punty is just make sure that when you gather the end, the tube will have a tendency to come to a V point on the inside, and you don't want that to create stress and break when you need it the most. So the best thing that you can do is puff that out a little bit, so then that way the actual hollow part in there comes to a nice circular curve on the inside instead of to a point. And then that way I'll be able to trust this handle, will be secure when I need it. So this one has a little bit of trash on the end. This might fly everywhere. Oh, it's going to crack. I'm just going to knock some of that off there, just so I don't get hot glass on my lap. That's really the only bad thing about sitting down in the glass torch, even though I do prefer it just for stability and being able to get different angles. Like some angles you just can't get without bending over, and that feels terrible to do that while you're standing up and in front of a torch. So, like a lot of people who stand up and blow glass have their torches on like bricks, and it puts them up real high. And that's kind of where I'm at here, where my torch is right in my face, right where I want it. And the shield right here, this is actually a blast shield, Marver, and shield combination. This is a UV-IR, so it does block some of the UV and IR rays that are coming through here, just so that I don't get a sunburn, because this is giving off UV rays. It's the same deal here. I'm just going to pop this open with a hole. And use my jacks here to first open the hole a little bit. And then I'm going to flatten the back here. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to flare this open a little bit. This one got a little thick on me on the end, so I might have to flare a little bit more. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a thick spot on that one. Again, you don't ever get all this stuff perfect every time. It's kind of it's one of them things. But we're just going to come in and I'm just going to pick some of this glass off here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to superheat one little spot here. I'm going to take a cold rod. I'm just trying to pick away some of that excess that was there. And then I'm going to heat it. I'm going to come back in. Marver it. I definitely did not get all of the thick stuff. Still see it on there. All I'm doing is just kind of skimming the surface there. I'll be honest with you, I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to pull this off and start this again. There was still a little bit of, I don't know if it was scuzz or something on the glass right there at the end. So I think we're just going to make this one a puntier rod as well. So I'm just going to puff there. I'm going to gather some of this glass on the end. I'll marver it down. Give it another puff. Alright. I'm just going to Bring that tip of that to a point. Alright, and we got 2 punties. Looks like I already had another blow tube over there. And then I have some blow tubes with some pieces still on them. So this one, let me try Naucus. There we go. So this one I'll make into a blow tube. The same deal, I'm just heating, trying to heat it nice and even. Alright, I'm liking that. And then I'm going to come in, open my hole a little bit. I'm going to use my jacks and just heat just the tip here. I'll flatten the ass end of that. Oh wow, this works way better. Yeah, this is a big deal, guys. These jacks. It's gonna take a little getting used to for some things, especially the two-handed motion. I guess I could do it like that. I think this is how I'll probably do it. They're just very, very springy. But the 2 points on the glass there seems key on a rounded surface. That's pretty nice. Alright, so we got our 3rd blow tube already. We're going to do a 4th one here. Oh. I think this one I was using for opals. It's a little bit short. I'm probably going to make this into a punny rod. So I'm just going to marv that end down. So it's closed. I'm going to puff this out a little bit. Alright, that's looking good. It's looking pretty decent there. Alright, so let me try to adjust this a little bit to maybe try to make it so you can see what I'm seeing better. Again, this is the kind of test stream here. So right now we're in the torch view. Let's look at torch view. Let's configure video. We need to change the text size so I can actually see what I'm doing. I guess I can take my glasses off. Alright, so you should be seeing like the actual piece, not this blue whatever here. So how do I configure that to do that? Let's look. So it's on custom. Oh, I guess I can't configure this while I'm live, right? Is that why? Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. So is it white balance? White balance, no. That's on auto. So what if I turn the brightness way down? Does that help? No. What if I just change? Okay, so there's no auto for any of them. So now you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, so that's default, because I accidentally just hit the default button. So we'll keep white balance the same, and we'll just turn the brightness way down for sure. So that seems to help. So now you can kind of see what I'm seeing a little bit better. It does kind of show you more of the glow of the glass too on this back, like my black background. So let's just click OK. So that's not too bad. That's what we're working with. That's how it's gonna have to be for a bit here. Alright, so we got PIP torch view. So that's me in the wide view with the torch view, and I like that. Let's stick with that. Alright. So we're gonna make this one into a pontier rod. So I'm just gonna heat the end, marb it down. It's gonna come to that V point. I come back in. I heat just the kind of tip of that until the glow starts to taper inwards. I'm not trying to really puff out my gather. I'm just trying to make it so that looks kosher in there. So it's nice and round on the inside and not coming to a point. Alright, so we got 3 punties, 3 blow tubes. Here's another one. Let's make this one a blow tube. This one's got a crack in it. Knock that off there. Gonna come in and pull this together. I'm gonna heat out where it's condensed on the end, puff it out. Alright, I'm gonna heat a little bit more down the tube, heat it all evenly. It should condense nice and even. Sometimes I only use part of the flame, top half, bottom half. Alright, so I got my hole there. I am going to expand my hole out. Alrighty, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to flare that edge. And that's looking pretty good. I will have to adjust my style here a little bit for this. I'm just kind of using my tools here to my advantage. Alright, so I got my 3 blow tubes there. That was a punty rod. I'm going to make this one a blow tube. So there's a little bit of glass here on the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that glass to this one. So I'm just going to heat kind of both these. So now you're seeing the second stage of my torch. So this is connected to a foot pedal that I've mounted under my desk here. And it has 2 120 volt solenoids, and I have just a standard normal foot pedal that they would use in like a machine shop connected to it, and all it does is it activates the solenoids to open the valve when I push my foot down, and I let 120 volt AC power to it. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of marve that together, and basically I just made that one piece right there in the middle. It has become one. And then I'm going to come in, I'm just going to heat right here at the tube. I'm going to pull off this blow tube, and then we're going to pop the hole and flare it and do the same thing we did for the other couple over there. Alright, so that's looking good. We're going to take that off there. I'm going to pick this. Oh, I got a little bit of glass on there from that. I didn't see that on there. It's okay. It won't hurt. Shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so I'm going to pick some of that off. I'm going to blow this out a little bit. That's probably good. And I'm going to come back in. Condense it all down a little bit. I do need to maybe look and see if there's like a 10 millimeter lens that I could use for this thing. 13 or 16 millimeter lens is what I got on there now. Which isn't too bad, but I also have a variable millimeter lens. It's like a varifocus lens that I could use, but it doesn't have the threading for the special filter that I have on this, so I have to. It's a ditty clip basically, is what fits on this one. But like you have to unscrew the ditty clip from the ditty clips. Alright, so I feel like my blow tubes are just a little bit big for what I normally make them, and I think that's because of the jacks. I'm guessing that I just need to kind of adapt my style a little bit too. Or I could always use my tweezers for flaring, but I do want to use them just because it feels much smoother in your hand. Alright, here's another piece that I am going to just knock off here. Alright, so we got that off there. I'm going to heat. There was a couple cracks that formed in this, but I'll be able to get this hot enough to really melt them back together, and there shouldn't be. Yeah, there they go. Alright, that's actually looking pretty good. Let me do the front a little bit more. Alright, it's not looking too bad. Right. Oh, look at that. That was a good one. That was a good bullet too. Alright, I should be able to get this one pretty much perfect as long as I don't mess it up with my jacks. With my new tool. There's always a learning curve with new tools. Alright, that's actually looking better. I like that. Probably wasn't the jacks. It's probably just me. I'm rusty. Alright, so this one has a little bit of line tubing on it, and so does this one. This one has less though, so let's pull this one off here. I thought about reusing this, like trying to use that little piece of tubing for something, but honestly, I think it's just waste, honestly, at this point. So some of the materials you see me use, like some of this glass, it's about $80 a pound, so it's a pretty expensive medium to get into. The ultimate tool for you to get as a glass blower would probably be a nice kiln. It's something that you can grow into if you see yourself continuing with the medium, for a long time. It'll save you from upgrading later on. And I do have plans to actually make something today. It's just right now I'm kind of running low on propane. I'm probably going to have to get propane. I started my stream here. I was checking out my tank. I know the other day it felt very light, and it's even lighter today, which tells me that it's probably going to run out of propane soon. So I didn't want to get into anything that was too intensive and then have to put it down, halfway through it. So right now I'm just flaring some blow tubes. I'm just gonna pick this piece of tubing off there. I gotta watch because this stuff keeps flying at my sweatpants, and I don't know if they're made from fleece or if they're made from cotton. Sorry for your ears there. If they're made from cotton, I will probably be okay. If they're made from fleece or something, it will just go right through it. I usually wear my Dickies, but today I was very lazy when I woke up and did not. Plus it's cold. It's hard to get yourself outside blowing glass when it's 30 degrees outside. looks pretty good. Let's flare that open just a smidge here. Okay, let me go ahead and wax my jacks a little bit. So one of the things we use as glass blowers is beeswax. This kind of helps the metal slide on the hot glass a little bit easier without creating so much tension, like friction. Creates like a barrier as it vaporizes. And lucky for us, it doesn't leave too much on the glass. I mean, it does leave something. I mean, there's... Alright, so I think we got most of the tubes there flared, so that's good. Alright, so let me see what I have here that I need to prep. So that is Corgi vac stack tubing. So some of our tubing comes in like this. And this is what we call vac stack tubing. And basically it is hollow on the inside, but it is also has colored lines on the outside. So it's clear with color in between on the inside and outside, if that makes sense. So there's actually clear on the inside and clear on the outside. So the way to do that is they stack a smaller tube inside of a bigger tube. So kind of like this. So you would stack your smaller tube in your big tube. You would then put glass rods into the big tube around the small tube to create fill the void, and then you would use a vacuum line hooked to a handle, just like you see me prep there, to pull it out. All right, see if we got anybody in chat. Anybody in chat? Who's out there? If you see something, say something. And even if you're not, don't want to say anything, that's fine too. We're just happy you're here. Happy you're hanging out. Alright, so I also have a couple other tubing, I think, up here. What is this one? Okay, so this one I already have a piece prepped with. So I don't need that. Oh, I see I have a piece of Corgi also over there prepped, so I actually don't need this either. Let me see if I think I brought up Wavy Gravy not long ago. And put some somewhere up here. Which is like the rainbow. It's kind of similar to what you see here. It's like a rainbow marble that I made back in the day. It's called Wavy Gravy tubing. I don't see it up here, so I probably didn't bring it. And that's okay. I actually have like a little shelf underneath my desk here, or my bench. And it houses anything that I might need, but I don't need right this second, you know. Stuff like that. Alright, so we're going to safely tag these over here, because I do want to put them maybe in my stash of the house. Alright, so I'm actually going to take a little break here. I have to go procure some Wavy Gravy tubing, if I do have it. I'm pretty sure I do. I might actually grab a couple other flavors too and maybe get them prepped. So we'll be right back here. Taking a little safety break. A little safety meeting. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. We're just here hanging out today. Alright, I will see you in a few moments. Alright, Twitch, we are back. Sorry it took me so long there. I had a couple other chores that I had to do real quick. Just filling the bird feeders for the girlfriend. Hi, Nikki. I love you. Making sure that she can watch the birdies today. Also have a couple live streams here on the Twitch that I stream live bird feeders to. Check out Bird Feeder Camera, all one word, no space. And another Bird Feeder Camera, all one word, no space. Alright, so I had to get us some more tubing. I got, this is kind of a mixture of, looks like it has a bunch of grays, blues. I did find a chunk of, I think it's wavy gravy. If not, it's very close to it. And I found this one that has a little bit of everything. It's got a little green, a little red, a little purple, a little blue. So what my plan is here is I need to make these attached to these blow tubes. So I'm going to kind of heat this very gently. I'm going to kind of condense it down on my marver. I'm going to attach them together and pull. I'm going to attach another handle to the other side. I'm going to cut this into 2 pieces for a piece. It's always good to clean your glass first. Paper towels and Windex are ideal, but I'm lazy today. So right now I'm just using the old sweatshirt. Inside of the sweatshirt. And this is odd tubing from Colorado Color Company. I bought the odds because they are kind of economical. I kind of splurged. Spent about $200 at their store over the Black Friday holiday. Or shop a day, I guess. Not really a holiday. It's Good Friday, right? I don't know. I can't remember. Alright, we're going to get started here. I'm going to drop this down into PFP torch you. Boom, there we are. Alright, so I think the first tubing we're going to start with here, just because I don't feel like trying to burn my fingers yet, is this wavy gravy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a nice bushy flame, and I'm not even in the flame with this yet. Just trying to see, and eventually like there'll be a condensation line kind of appear, and I can see it there. And that's going to tell me where some of this heat is kind of sunk into. So now I'm just kind of heating one point here, and I'm letting it radiantly heat the rest of the glass around it. And this is seconds tubing, so you expect to see some score lines, a little bit of size variance to it. Everything I've got from them, though, has been pretty decent quality. I've seen some people post some reviews on their Etsy that literally made no sense to me, but people complaining of that they didn't get all the pieces in the picture when they were showing like a 5-pound lot, where he was selling each pound individually, and you bought it by the pound. I don't know. I guess people picture shop. I'm thanking everybody for staying tuned here on your Sunday. Thanks for Twitch for having us the platform here. And alright, so I've sunk a little bit of heat into this piece. Enough that I can start kind of forming it where I want it to be. Since it is a little bit smaller piece of tubing, it's a little bit harder to manipulate, but one important thing is always keep the angle of the tube so it's down, otherwise heat will travel up the handle or the hole in the tube, and it will get your tube hot. So what I'll do here is I'm going to heat just the tip of this. I'm going to use my marver. I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to kind of marve that flat because there's a little edge there. And I'm going to use my marver just to kind of bring that to a little bit more of a taper there on the end. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let me check my blow tube here and see how it looks on it. Oh, definitely not big enough yet. So this is where my trusty jacks might come into play. Where I could flare this out a little bit more. But I'll be honest, I feel like this needs just to be condensed a little further. And since this is a piece of tubing that is a little bit short, like this other one over here will be even shorter, you gotta be careful not to get too close. That flame will get you. Alright, so that hole's looking a little bit better now. I think I can actually grab 80% of that, so that's looking good. I am going to heat this real quick and flare it just a smidge more with the old jacks. So I'm going to heat the lip mostly here. Heat a little beyond the lip. Come on, come in. And I'm just going to kind of flare at just a smidge more. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to come in, I'm going to soak most of my heat into the colored tubing, because I want it to pull out a little bit as I connect this piece to get a little bit better of a connection. And then once I get a nice heat in there, that's what I'm going to introduce my blow tube to this. Just kissing kind of the flame here with. I'm eventually going to touch. I'm going to center it. And then I'm going to come in. I'm going to heat it. Kind of where I've connected it. And then I'm going to pull a little bit. I'm going to see how straight I am. Alright, we're slightly off there. I'm going to try to fix that a smidge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow down my flame a little bit. I'm just going to kind of heat in here where I think I need to heat to make this straight again. And honestly, I just kind of twisted my blow tube a little bit there. Let me untwist that a little bit. Alright, that's looking way better. Alright, I'm going to let that cool down. Just going to spin it on my marver there a little bit. I have 250 drop frames suddenly, so hopefully you guys are still tuning. It says we're still sending. Feel free to say something in the chat if you are interested in glass or if you have any questions. Alright, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm coming in, I'm actually going to heat this other side, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to cut this piece of tubing directly in half. I might actually stretch it out a little bit first. We're just kind of doing the same thing here. I'm just kind of heating. Just the end there, getting a nice glow on it. Come into my marver, marv it slightly. In Boro, it's all about multiple moves with things. So sometimes it takes 2 or 3 heats to really get in there and do exactly what you were trying to accomplish. I'm going to use my marver here to just kind of flatten and push that together at the same time on the end. Alright. And there is a thick spot I just noticed on my tube over here where I connected it. Let's hope that doesn't bite me in the at the end here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull out the side that I'm heating right now, and then I'll just throw this rest of this blank in the kiln just to be safe. So let's look what we got here. So that's looking okay. Let's get herself a blow tube. We think will about fit that. That's looking pretty good there. So same kind of deal. I heat this mostly because I'm trying to pull it out. So I'm going to get a little more heat in it than the blow tube. I'll attach the blow tube. And then I'm going to come in and heat around it. Heat around it. Heat around it. I'm going to marve that together. Try to get it straight. Pull it out a little bit. It's not looking terrible. There is a big spot there at the end. Let's see if we can fix that a little bit. Get a little bit sharper of a flame here. Heating just what I need to heat. Try to condense this around a little bit. It's almost like enough glass there for like a Maria on the end of the tube. Alright, that's looking better. Alright, so I'm going to let this cool for a second here. Alright, we got her cooling down. I'm going to adjust my torch here a little bit because now I'm actually trying to stretch this tubing out. So I'm trying to get a good deal of it hot. Put some heat into it. So I'm going to use a couple different angles here. You'll see this angle actually heats more of the tube and more radiantly, so kind of getting whiffs of the flame. But ideally what I'd like to do is I'd like to pull this down into 2 big sections. There's enough here for 2 of the pipes that I make, I think. Sometimes it's hard to gauge that, but alright, so I'm heating it up. I'm letting it condense. I'm pulling it out a little bit. And you want to kind of do this again gradually. We're not trying to win any records here. Alright, we got a problem there. This thing's spewing oxygen. I gotta adjust that in a second. For now, we're just gonna stick with the old phantom flame here. Alright. And the key is just to spin both of these evenly, heat the entire tube evenly, and it's kind of a timing thing where you want to let it kind of pull itself, if that makes sense. Alright. See, I'm worried about this connection on my left here just because it's cold now, and I can see where there's like a wrinkle in the glass there a little bit, so I've got to be careful. Because when I get to the end here, I don't want that to fall off. So yeah, I'm just kind of bringing this up, and I'm just kind of letting it pull itself. I'm not really pulling it much. Just kind of letting the weight, the whole thing, pull it. So this is where I'm going to need to try to soak some radiant heat into that connection. Alright. Alrighty. So I think I'm past the stage where I really have to worry about this connection here now. Because there's enough radiant heat in it that I think if it was going to break, it would have already. So I'm just going to still go in a little bit slowly. I'm going to try to heat this knuckle on this end all the way down to the size of about where my flare is for the blow tube. Alright, so I'm going to heat that. I'm going to pull that out a little bit. Alright, still needs a little more. Come in here. Pull that out. We're going to use the marver here a little bit. Alright, so that's about the taper that we want this whole thing to be. But again, I'm just prepping one side of this. And in Boro, it's better to try to do little steps. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to heat and taper this half of this tube to the same length here, to the same diameter. And I'll tell you what I'm looking at here. So like, if you're new to this and you're having problems with things in both hands, you have to learn how to spin them at the same time. But at the same time, one of my hands is my main spinning hand, and the other one I'm just helping the tube along. I'm never actually getting anything hot enough to be crazy with it. I'm just getting hot like to make it white hot. I'm just making it softer. And I'm making it soft enough to do what I need to do without adding a bunch of stress to it. So like for line tubing, it's pretty thick. You know, you do have to try to pull it down somewhat evenly to help with your patterns. Like on this example, I'm going to have, a somewhat uneven tube here by default, but as even as you can get it. Every little step you can do now to make it a little more perfect will reduce the amount of steps you have to do later. Alright, so I'm assuming that's about half of my tube there. So as you can see, I got a pretty good taper on this side. It is a little bit wavy, it's a little bit bouncy. But this isn't my final pull down of this. Again, I'm just prepping at this point. So the piece that you see that I've tapered there, that'll be the end that I'm going to work with here. And then the tool that I'm about to use here is my V-blade. So this is actually just a brass, they call them a brass necking tool. So it's basically a tool that has a V in it that's made out of brass. And what that allows us to do as lamp workers is we can kind of come in and heat one section of this. And we can create a stress point in the glass as we coal that one section evenly. So here we go. We're going to go down into the V-blade. And I'm just kind of putting a line in there. And the important thing is to kind of keep everything still nice and straight and on center. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to heat it again. I'm pulling it out a little bit as I heat it. And now on this one, as it starts to cool, I'm just going to start rocking it. Start rocking it. Rocking it. And what I'm doing is I'm actually making a stress point in the glass right there. And eventually it will just snap, just like that. So now I got two pieces here. And you can still see that's very, very thick. This is enough. This is very heavy. This is enough prep for one pipe. And that's all I really need of this tubing. So both of these I am going to throw in the kiln here real quick. Give myself a little drink here real quick. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I'm sure you. I will give something away today if anybody fills out my Google form. That's all you gotta do. Fill out the Google form that's in my profile. That's your Twitch username. No one has entered my giveaway this week. And I have plenty of things to give away. So feel free. Alright. And we're back. Alright, so now we're going to try to prep another piece of this too. We're going to try this pork belly with gray one. This one might be a little bit weird just because it has like multiple colors in it, but it looks like one half of it is Disco Sparkle probably. There's another variation of it, Disco Sparkle, and then there's another, I'll say North Star's Disco Sparkle. Alright, I'm just heating the end here. Give myself something I can bring down to a taper. I have to watch because they did shed me somewhat of a sharp end on this, which is not desirable. Almost need some gloves on, so I can cut my fingers. Can't spin it like this with gloves. Gotta remember to keep elbow down. Just got a little bit of a hot finger there from the flame coming up the tube. Guess I can put the headset back on. So you guys can hear me. Alright, I'm just heating my line tubing here. Heating my line tubing. And I'm coming in, condensing it down with the marber. And this will take me 2 or 3 times to get this to about the size of where my blue tubes are. So just got to be careful to Alright, that's actually looking pretty good. I think we got one, maybe the bigger one here. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Alright, so again, I'm going to heat mostly this. I am going to preheat this, though. Alright, and then I attach them kind of cold. And then I come in and I meld them together. And this is difficult when you don't have a, I mean, when I have a good handle, this is way easier. But on my left hand, I'm just kind of without a good handle. I'm just kind of freely rotating this thing. Just trying to keep everything nice and on center. Alright, and that's looking okay. There is a little stress line right there I can see, but I think we'll be able to get away with that. Make sure it's straight. Looks good to me. Looking good there, looking good. Alright, so again, I'm gonna use this little nubbin right here kind of as my point to first introduce the flame for this thing. Just so, and I'm just looking for, oh, there it goes. I can see it going around. So there's actually like a line of condensation that comes around the tube. And it'll actually tell you where you've kind of heated to. It'll let you know when you've sunk enough heat into the piece that you can safely kind of come in here and start heating the rest of it. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to swipe away that clear glass that was right there. Just like a little nipple right here. Alright. Alright. I'm going to adjust this real quick too. This thing's like... Alright, I'm liking that. Alright, so we're going to heat this. We're going to do the same steps we kind of just did there with the last one. Glass blowing, especially when you're first learning, it's kind of all about repetition. If you want to try to make something, make it 100 times. But you'll know how to make it every time. Fix all your mistakes. Alright, I've synced a good bit of heat into this now. So I think I can marve it down to probably where I need it. Yep, a little bit more, probably. I might actually have to... I'm actually going to jack this out a little bit, too. I'm going to go and ream this out a little bit. So I'm just kind of heating the tip here. And I just want that to be round. There we go. I might have to do this a couple times with where I'm going to go in and I'm going to touch it with the back of the paddle. Come in and flare it out. Yeah, I can come in and touch it with the back of the paddle. Marve it. Alright, that's looking straight now. I think I'll be able to condense that down in there straight and even. Alright. I thought I already had a blue tube selected, but I don't think I did. And this one looks pretty close, so I think this is the one we're going to use. And I am going to paddle this slightly, just to kind of get it a little more even. Same kind of process, where I'm going to sink more heat into the big piece that I have here on my left. I'm trying to keep this pretty well intact, you know what I mean? Like, it's not I don't want to get it all hot and get it off center and make it all weird. So I'm just trying to get it hot enough to do what I need to do here. I come in and I kind of use the angle of the torch here to radiantly heat that area, the tube that I just attached. I'll come in, I'll make sure it's centered. I'll pull a little bit. Puffs also help. I'm worried about blowhose. I probably should have put it on the other end of these, but that's okay. So that connection point looks pretty good. Now this one, there's just a knuckle here, and it's already kind of tapered to where the other one was. The other one was a lot thicker than this one. So I'm just going to try to pull what I think I would need for 2 pipes down, or 1 pipe down in this one, to the exact size that I actually do my wig wags. So that way I can kind of skip a couple steps here. That big one was just, it was almost, looked like it was a knuckle maybe. And I'm just kind of using itself to pull itself down. Alright. And I'm just going to keep heating these knuckles until I can get enough heat into it to get them perfect. You can also pre-spin it. So I was doing that for a while, where as I was pulling it, I was spinning it, but I found my spins get a little bit weird towards the end, so I think I'm going to just kind of skip that phase there for now. So there is a little section here, it's like a little bump. I'm going to try to heat it out. Alright, that's looking good. Alright, so I'm hunting this down, just pulling her down, just condensing. And everything you see that we make it by hand. We don't have a lathe. Like, we don't have a lathe yet. We'll eventually get there, though. So if you're out there, once we get, hopefully, affiliate very soon, if you feel like making a donation, we will be happy to put it towards a nice lathe. And we can give you guys some lathe tips. I have seen some lathe work done. I've talked to Mike Nom. I think I probably murdered that. I'm sorry, buddy. But he's like a pretty good scientific lamp worker that makes amazing things. Huge things. We're talking like giant beakers and giant flasks. I mean, it's stupid the size of the stuff that he works in. But he seems to love what he does, and that's what's important. Alright, so I am going to leave myself a little bit extra here. There's actually probably enough here for maybe a carb cap or 2. Once I get this all pulled out. But I am just going to leave it kind of as a knuckle probably on there. Alright, so I think I got what I need here for 2 pieces. So, or for 1 piece. So I'm going to cut this end off here. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to score it with my V-blade. And as I create that stress in it, I'm just kind of giving it a nice little I'm just going to give it like a nice little, and it comes right apart. Just like that. We'll go up in and we'll clean them ends. Alright. So that's what we got there. Alright, so let me throw both of these sections in the kiln real quick. we're going to take a short commercial break here. Not commercial. Just a break. We're back in 5. Gotta have a little safety meeting. Alright. If you can hear me out there, that's perfect. We're still just hanging out here. We're just taking a little break from the camera. Just relaxing. Doing a little stretches. Alright. Checking the old Twitch chat just to see if anybody's out there. Oh, we have had some people coming in. That's good. Like always talking about glass. let's go in here. We gotta follow Bullies. Since he followed us. I went ahead and followed Bullies here. I also changed the place we're streaming to instead of just chatting to Arts. So maybe that'll help us a little bit get a couple more viewers. That would be sweet. So my stream still says just chatting. So do I have to stop streaming and then start streaming again? I'm gonna do that. So if you're watching, sorry.